Good morning.
You are an animal. You got all these sessions going on. This is good, even though you got COVID.
So I applied to Boston Beer for a role, and they they emailed me back, and the subject line was rejection.
That's what it said.
It said rejection.
That's cold.
It said rejection, role filled. Like, I think that was their internal,
Yeah.
and so I emailed them back and said, and gave them some suggestions for subject lines for candidates.
Good for you. That's good. That's good.
I mean, that's, I understand it. Just say thank you for applying, or thanks for your application, or whatever. But
Yeah, right.
rejection, it's like, what the hell? My friend said a tweet. He said a tweet Boston Beer with my response to HR. But I'm like, well, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you could say something like Sam Adams looking pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Okay. It might just be you and me today.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
I know Cosmo can't make it, and I didn't hear from the other guys, so we'll just give him one more. How you feeling?
I'm still sick.
Ah. You know, I just reading this morning, it said they expect this thing probably to stay with us infinitely, like, you know, it'll just kind of tone down into a regular flu, but they said everybody's going to get it eventually. So maybe you get it done now.
Well, I thought I had having the previous COVID, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I know. That's what makes this one so tough. It seems like you keep getting it, right? Because it keeps mutating and you can get it again. Crazy. All right, well, today we're going to talk about the 4-tier branding statement. And I'm going to share my screen with you, and we'll walk through this. Let's see, there it is. All right, so what this is, well, I'll just show it to you first.
Okay.
If you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so what it is it's basically talking points broken out into different situations. So it's going to be a matrix that looks something like this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns and like 5 different talking points with more progressive explanation of what that they are on each of them. So coming back up here, it's a set of segmented situational pitches broken into an elevator pitch, a networking pitch, a phone screener interview pitch, and a full job interview pitch. And it's just used to get a really clear set of talking points for what you want to say in these different situations that verbally express your value proposition. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right, let me just quickly check for anybody else who might be joining late. 1 second, and we'll move on. I hate Zoom sometimes. It's like I gotta stop sharing to get out and then look at the participants. Okay, it's just us. All right. So this is the structure behind it. So you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. The first 2 tiers are really for networking. You know, they're more designed to go out there and tell somebody who you are and get more information back. And the second 2 are for interviewing for an actual job. So the first tier is literally only 15 seconds. The first version. Second tier is a minute. Third tier is about 5 minutes. And the fourth tier is about 15. Well, you say, well, a phone screen is more than 5 minutes and an interview is more than 15 minutes. But this is like the highly concentrated version of your talking points. So with all the example like explanation and the small talk in between everything else, it still could fill a whole interview with these salient points. So in the first tier, we're going to use keywords. It's just like we want to get to the actual words that you're going to say to somebody literally in an elevator. If you're talking to the CEO of a company you want to work for, and he says, hey, Ross, so what do? You want to be boom, you got like maybe 10 floors to get it out, rattle it out. That's what this is for. The second tier is for when you're in a networking meeting and somebody says, so Ross, what do? And you have about 60 seconds before they start getting bored. And I hear very few good networking pitches when I'm out there. People just ramble on. They don't really have a good story or anything else. And I'm usually left wondering what they do at the end of their pitch, which is about 5 minutes long. So we want to have yours really succinct to the point. They go, oh, wow. And then have a call to action at the end of that. Say, hey, do you know of anybody that I should speak to? So when you have the call to action and they know what you're talking about, they're much more likely to give you some information that can be useful for you rather than you just telling them what you do. And that's a dead end. So
Okay.
tier 3 has all of this stuff plus your underlying skills and abilities. So you're going to explain what you mean by those keywords that you talked about over here. And tier 4 tacks on examples that provide credibility and show that you know how to do all these things that you just talked about. Okay, so that's the structure. So what we're going to do is create those 5 rows with 4 columns. And it's easier to show than to tell. So I'll just show you again. So in this first row, we're going to have the keywords. Here we're going to have more detail about what those things are, your skills and so forth. This is 5 minutes with your secret sauce, like all the things that really, if you get down into it, that you're actually doing. And if you've done the defining your professional expertise, we can just pull right from that. And then the 15-minute version is like, okay, I'm going to tell this story. And you don't have to literally write out the whole story, but just remember the story enough that you can just summarize it here, right? So the questions to ask yourself in defining this is, what problems am I really good at solving? What value do I create? Why would this be important to a company or an organization? What do I do best? What do you do really, really well? That's your value prop. How would you describe how would you describe me to somebody else? So you can ask somebody else, say, hey, how would you describe me? What are my biggest strengths? And what is my specialty? So let's go into samples. I'm just gonna go through this top line, and we're gonna start building our own here. So this guy says he's a strong relationship builder, has global experience with international exposure. So he's a successful fundraiser. He has financial acumen, and he's a business builder. Boom, the elevator doors open, and you're done. That's the 15-second version, right? So now he's going to expound upon strong relationship skills. So what do you mean by that? Well, I'm service-oriented. I have a service-oriented leadership style. I'm an influential communicator that can drive engagement and build strong networks. So that you might say that in an elevator, in a networking meeting. So you're saying I'm strong relationship, and then you tell them more. Same thing with this one. Global experience with international exposure. Well, I've worked and traveled in 50 countries, and I've worked on 5 continents, which is, and there's no substitute to going out there kicking the tires. You know, gives a little phrase on what he's going to say. I'm a successful fundraiser, meaning I'm able to develop investment case across capital structures, both in debt and equity. So somebody who's in the industry will know what that means, hopefully. or he could dumb it down a little bit more for somebody in a networking meeting without financial people. And he has financial acumen. He's a deep understanding of cash flow valuation drivers. He has Wall Street type experience, but he's an off Wall Street type guy. He's a business builder. He has hands-on experience operating roles. He's an impactful performer who knows what it takes to drive business growth. So that would be used in your networking meeting. And then I'm not going to read through all of these, but in your 5-minute version, we're going to just have, well, he's trust. What do you mean by that? I'm trusted to do the right thing. I'm ethical, consistent, transparent. I'm willing to make the tough decisions. And this is now you're in the interview, right? So you're drilling down a little bit more. And what do I mean by that? Well, that I'm service oriented. I'm willing to take the time. And I think the key is a one-to-one approach, coordinated share experience for the team, where I coach and share knowledge. And I see people first, not as levels or layers or assets. And then he says, I have people focus. I'm humble and collaborative. I listen and lead with good questions, and I use empathy. And I lead by example. I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and get in the trenches to work with my team. So now he's got a great thing for a phone screener. And you can say the same thing in the interview, and he's going to add in an example or two. So now he might say, for example, there was that time at the EHS when I was working there in Brazil, and then whatever his example is, I don't know what it is, but he's going to talk about in the what's I was trying to blank on how to how you deliver a story. Hang on one second. Goodness gracious. Situation, task, action, result. Star.
Star.
I don't know. I was trying to blank on that. So yeah, he's got to give the story in the star format and have that ready for the interview. So all makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. So we're gonna start you off by figuring out what these are in the first column. Come on. Am I still sharing?
No, I don't see it. So.
Oh shoot. I'm sorry. I took that off. All right. So we're gonna start in the first column. And then we're going to go to the second column and third column, and later on you can put the fourth column in. So what I'd love you to do is to go to your skills mind map. You're defining your professional expertise or your lexicon, and find the language that you can use for those 5 talking points. Like, what are your 5 top talking points? If you were to explain, if you were to have only 5 things to say to somebody about your professional experience, which 5 of those would those be? And then pull out the specific skill and put that in your first column.
Okay.
If you want me to help you with that, since it's one-on-one here, we could do this together. Let me just see if anybody else showed up. Nope, good, okay. All right, back here, let's start to share again. All right, so you can see this example now, yes? Okay. All right, so what would you say your 5 would be, Ross? Like, let's start with the first one. What is your top expertise or skill that you think you have?
I mean, I would say I have strong relationship skills. That would be my top one.
Okay, so let's pencil that in.
Yeah, I would say that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's actually, you know what? Let me put a table together here so we can capture this live. New insert new slide. And for these, I'll put a table in. Insert table. And we'll make it 4 and 5. All right. So these are going to be, actually, I need one more further. Better. So your key skills. Strong relationship. Relationship building skills. All right. All right. So let's go down to the next one. So what would your second one be here? And this is like the key to Ross and Leo. It's like this is what he's all about professionally.
I just want to pull up my resume.
Yeah, right. Or go to your lexicon or go to your defining professional expertise or the skills mind map if you start creating that.
A second would be my analytical skills,
Analytical skills, okay?
and then a third one would be project management.
Okay.
And the fourth one would be my design and creativity skills.
Design and creativity, great.
Uh-huh. And a fifth one trying to think of a fifth one.
You got a lot, just the top ones, like the ones that you really want people to know you for, to hire you for.
I'm at a loss. I mean,
Did you start working on the skills mind map?
no.
Okay, how about the defining professional expertise? Did you do that?
I think I did that. Hold on.
Problem, solution, results, expertise. So if you look in that expertise section, and you know what, let me go back and go to one of these lists, and maybe you can pull some stuff out of here that you see. Sometimes it's easier to identify when you see it. There you go.
Oh, definitely cross-functional management, but wouldn't that be tied to project management?
No, because I think you'd say cross-functional is the combination of project and relationship building skills, right? Because one of the things about cross-functional is you want to talk that you can talk business and tech, and there's a different set of skills involved there. So let's go with that. Let's call it cross-functional leadership.
Okay.
More discreet, so it stands like up. All right, so now what we're going to remember is to talk more about what that skill is. So anybody can say, yeah, I have strong relationship building skills. What do you mean by that? You know, it means that you're empathetic. Does it mean that you have service-oriented leadership? Does it mean that you have active listening? Do you connect? How do you connect with people? You're friendly and jovial. All sorts of ways that people have relationship building skills. Tell me more about yours, and I'll start writing them down.
Can you go back to the example?
Yep. This person says, service-oriented leadership, influential communicator, drives engagement, builds strong networks. I'll give you another example. Let's see if this person says, so she says servant leader as well. Oh, she copied the other guy. But let's see, business acumen, impactful performance, organization, operational awareness. We got project management down here too, so we can maybe get some ideas from this. Let's just talk it through. Give me a stream of consciousness about how you build relationships, and I'll pull stuff from what you say.
I mean, the way I build relationships, when I start a new project, I take the time to actually just sit one-on-one with the person, kind of get to know them as a person before I start diving into what we're going to be working on. So I try to establish a relationship first before I dive into the business at hand.
Okay, and how do you do that? Go deeper. Like when you are sitting there with that person, what do you do that
I try to get them on a personal level, like how long have they been at the company? What do they like about, you know, their role, what are some of their challenges. I try to take a personal interest first before before I start asking them to do stuff for the project.
Right. Okay, so you like, yeah, you taking the time, you get to know the person, you're getting curious, you find out the likes, dislikes. Anything else that you're doing that you can identify?
As far as relationship building,
Yeah. You
I
like
you know I you know I make sure I keep them. I make sure that I keep them in the loop. So I use really good communication skills with those individuals. I make sure that I understand where they're coming from a business perspective,
okay.
especially if I'm working, especially if the project has tight deadlines, because my deadline may not be their deadline. So I have to be cognizant of what some of the other projects they're working on.
Got it. So I'm going a little bit deeper. You probably wouldn't say this in a networking meeting because people
Right.
wouldn't, but an HR person would definitely care. All right. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Let's and you have an example of that. Can you think of it? And in all of your career, it doesn't have to be last position or anything else like that. You can actually couch your examples as, there's one time, instead of saying, my last job, it could go all the way back to when you first started working. What's an example of that? So this is
Example of strong relationship building skills. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like, so if you were telling the story, so you say, hey, I build strong relationships, and how I do it, I get to know people. I take the time to get curious and I find their likes and dislikes before I jump in and start working with them. And I think the reason I'm really successful for that is I keep people in the loop. I information share, I understand other people's workloads, and I make sure that they have what they need to do their jobs. For example,
for example, at Princess Cruises, I had to launch the Princess Visa card within a 6-month time frame, and I had to bring on I had to bring on board a team of 8 people from 5 different departments that didn't necessarily believe in the product. No, they didn't. So I basically had to convince them that we're doing this, we have to launch this, and that I need to get buy-in for them. But I also needed to do work to get this launched.
Okay. Cool. And so now you can say specifically what you did. So I took each of them out to lunch. I listened.
I did that. I took each person out to lunch.
And you asked what? Lord.
I took each person out to lunch. I asked about their history with Princess, and then I learned more about what their role was. And then I wove into the conversation how the credit card could actually, enhance the revenue streams for multiple different departments, not just earning money for the company, but actually it can enhance the process of booking a cruise because they can earn double points. It could improve retail sales because people get 0% financing for financial purchase. So I was able to weave in the product to other different revenue departments.
Great.
And how it could actually benefit their department.
Perfect.
Versus seeing it as another thing for them to do.
Good. I love it. Cool. Perfect. So now you have your first talking point, and after you give your example and everything else, this could be a 2 to 3 minute response, like I said. So if you have 5 of these, you've already got almost enough for a full interview. So let's keep going. All right. So your analytical skills. Don't talk to me about those, and I'll start writing down what I hear.
Analytical skills. I'm able to I'm trying to verbalize. I mean,
Yeah, just talk
'cause
about
I'm,
stream of consciousness, and then we'll hear it. And that's a great way.
I
To
mean,
do
I've done competitive analysis. For example, for the Princess Visa card, I
what
did
kind of
full
analysis? Yeah,
I did a full competitive analysis of reward card offerings in the marketplace. In addition, I analyze consumer spend data to look for trends.
Mhm.
I analyze art. I use Google Analytics to analyze uh, website traffic and optimizing content for the web based on reviewing the Google reports.
So how do you analyze? What is your process in analysis, would you say?
My process of analysis is to take the data,
Mhm.
to then break that data down into smaller bite-sized piece of information, uh, looking for specific trends, and then within those trends, uh, determining or coming up with a strategy on how to address, how to improve efficiencies or increase revenue.
Great. Okay, so now we need the story example.
An example for
For
analytical.
analytical skills. Yeah, for
Sure,
example,
sure. Uh, One example would be that there's a situation where the marketing team pulled my. They basically they did not allow me to market the credit card anymore on the website because credit cards, it was during the crash of 2007 2008, so they were worried about aligning. They were worried about giving the credit card too much exposure, even though we had a contractual obligation for the credit card with Barclays Bank. They didn't want to give it too much exposure because they were worried about the rejection rates, because people that got rejection for the card may interpret that as rejecting Princess rejecting them, therefore they may not book a cruise with us.
got it.
All right. So that was my hands were tied. So I thought, well, what I said, I thought, well, what kind of data is available to me? How can I make a case to actually market the credit card?
Mhm.
So what I did was I pulled all the information on our guests that had the credit card. I looked at their average spend, and I found that guests that had the credit card spent more on average on the cruise ship than guests without the credit card. In addition, the average cruise booking price for guests with a credit card was higher than the average cruise booking price for guests without the credit card.
Great.
So basically my case was that people that have the credit card, actually they spend more with us and they spend more on their cruise. So they're actually a very lucrative market to keep promoting to and to secure.
And the result was?
Result was I got my marketing back. I got my homepage back. I got my homepage placement back. I got my email campaigns back that were taken away from me.
Great. Cool. So you made a case and with data told the story, made the persuasion, all those.
Mhm.
Yeah, great. Awesome. All right, let's do project management. Talk to me more about that. So just give me the 10 poles of what you do in project management.
I set up teams.
Mhm.
I establish timelines. I maintain open communication channels. I ensure that we hit milestones, and then I course correct as needed.
Okay, hang on, you went too fast for me. So you set up teams, you set timelines.
The timelines, set up, goals and objectives and milestones.
Okay.
I maintain constant communication with my team.
Okay.
And I course correct as necessary.
Right. Okay, now we're gonna get into the details on what makes you successful, what your secret sauce in doing all of this is.
My secret sauce is
Yeah, let's go one by one. So when you're setting up teams, what are you doing in setting up the teams that made you successful? You're identifying.
I'm identifying the resources I'm going to need to complete the project.
And how are you doing that? How do you know who's going to be good and who's not?
Well, I mean, I may not have a choice sometimes with who's going to be good, who's not,
Mhm.
but I identify what appropriate resources are needed, and I then reach out to that specific department on what resources I'm going to need for completing this project.
Okay, so you're actually going
Because
out.
I can't choose people. So, for example, when we made changes to the Princess app, I reached out to IT, and then I put together a team of stakeholders to launch our passport to value booklet online with our Princess Rewards app, with the Princess app. So I reached out to IT to who they could give me to put on my project team for that project.
Okay, great. All right, let's take up setting timelines. What are you doing there?
I mean, I'm just setting up time. I mean, I'm setting up timelines based on
Based on,
estimates and available
Estimating.
resources. Yeah.
okay. And how you go deeper? How do you make estimations? Is it, oh, I think it's 6 weeks, or you actually, what are you doing in that process?
In that process, I'm looking at previous projects
Mhm.
and using those as benchmarks. And then I'm also, also doing industry research on, because on average, I've done industry research on how long certain projects take. So I will also the industry benchmarking.
Right.
So it's a combination of historical and also industry benchmarking.
Good.
And I'm also relying on the expertise of the teams.
Yeah.
So especially IT, I mean, they have something could take 6 weeks, but based on their backlog workload, it may be 6 months.
Great. Awesome. And how about maintaining communications, of course, correcting, anything else you want to?
I mean, communications, I have typically with a project, I'll have a weekly team meeting.
Mhm.
And then I make sure that I immediately send out notes after the meeting to make sure everything's captured correctly. Because the last thing I want is miscommunication.
Yep. Documenting and communicating outcomes. Cool. All right. Good. This is so much better than if you just said, yeah, I'm a good project manager. You say, I'm a good project manager, but I set up teams, I set the timelines, the goals, objectives, the milestones, I maintain communications with those teams, I course correct as necessary. What I'm doing there is I'm identifying the appropriate resources and needs. I'm pitching to the teams and soliciting the right people to make this a success. I make estimations and benchmarks. I conduct industry research. I tap the expertise of teams. And I make sure that I have regular communication with everybody, document and communicate the outcomes so that everybody stays on the same page. That's like, wow, right? This guy knows what he's talking about. Okay, so now you go, for example.
Oh, I hate this part. For example, I was given the task of launching a Japanese bath experience on board the Diamond Princess, and I had no experience whatsoever in launching a spa experience because my background was in marketing, the credit card, and product management.
Okay.
And so I was able to pull together a team of internal resources and external resources
Mhm.
from multiple disciplines,
Mhm.
and I pulled together a team, and we had very tight deadlines because project was given me last minute, so we had very tight deadlines, and we were able to launch the Japanese Izumi bath within the scheduled time frame. And the new experience resulted in positive press reviews and accolades from the cruise industry press, as well as the Japanese newspapers.
Mhm. Uh,
Yeah, I was like stuck in Japan for like 6 weeks, which wasn't a bad place to be stuck.
Good. Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. So now your design and creativity. Let's talk, stream of consciousness. And again, talking this out is a great way to figure out what that actually means, right? So you get somebody to sit down with you and say, here's my key skills, design and creativity. What I mean by that is let just somebody else just hear what you're saying and type what you're writing, and then later on you go back and edit that. So do that for me now. So we're talking about your design and creativity.
Okay, my design and creativity.
Yeah, talk to me more about it. If you were going to discuss this with me, what are some of the things you would say? So I'm really creative and I have great design skills.
Okay, so I mean, I'm really creative. I have great design skills. I've created a printed and digital marketing collateral that's been impactful to drive business. I've also launched my own fashion line, which is a way to channel my creativity. Uh, I also look for creative solutions when I have limited resources. Is that going in detail or example? That's a story.
Those are more stories. So
Oh,
actually,
okay.
last piece, because you said you print local collateral. Let's look examples. But here, this one actually goes here, where you look for creative. Yeah, let me pull that out. It's like I was just writing in that column, but it doesn't belong here. Cut. Put it here. All right. So your print and digital marketing collateral. That's an example, right? Because we're going to talk more about that, and we'll get to that in a moment. So I want to know, what creativity means to you. What do you when you say you're creative? Everybody says they're creative. What does that mean?
For me, it means looking for creative solutions.
Yeah.
It means looking at a white looking designing marketing communications that are impactful.
Okay. And
And
how
I
do you
can't
do that? Like talk about your spatial, your color awareness, that kind of stuff. I want you to go a little bit deeper on this.
um
Like, what are you doing that makes you a good designer and creative? Like, just talk it through a little bit.
well, I'm making sure that I'm making sure that I'm using all the brand elements, all of our brand guiding principles.
Mhm.
Um, I'm I'm using colors and photographs that are meaningful to the target audience, that will impact the target audience to make a decision, to react.
Okay. Great. All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
Um,
I'm gonna actually put your secret as secret sauce because that's the tail level here.
okay.
Come on, let's get that copy. All right, so there we go. All right, so when you're being creative, you're looking for creative solutions when faced with constraints.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the way you're doing it, the secret sauce is usually brand elements. You're using colors, images, most impactful. So let's
What else? Well,
flesh
I'm
this out.
also, I'm also, I'm also, I'm also, so as part of the secret sauce for creative solutions constraints would be that I'm thoroughly researching, I'm thoroughly researching other options.
Great.
Yeah, alternatives.
Mhm.
I'm going back to the example where Aurora did not have an intranet and they didn't want to pay for an intranet.
Mhm.
So I found a solution to build it on Wix myself, uh, which only costs us $25 a month.
Cool.
I mean, it's hobbled together, but it's still impactful because it really does serve as an intranet. The employee, it just requires a login, like an intranet would require a login.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna put that in the example box. Anything else you want to flesh out here with what do you mean by design and creativity and how you're actually doing it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, so the design and creativity, it tells like what you're doing, and then the secret sauce is how you're doing it. It's like
Mhm.
this is like the stuff that's going on that people can't really see. Like you're keeping aware of all the brand elements and you're making sure they're in there. You're picking the colors and stuff like that. I can only see the outcome, but there is something going on that's your secret sauce that's making you effective as a designer and a creative.
I'm trying to think of a few more things, but
And yeah, let me see if I can just stream of consciousness as well. So if I was being creative, I'd be seeing the big picture and seeing how an element fits into that, and to look at, like you said, all the different alternative solutions and to blend some of the elements of all these different alternatives to create a new solution that hasn't been designed before, or again, something like that. Just brainstorm it.
okay.
Just think about a project that you've done and think about what you're actually doing. That's like, you're not even being aware that you're doing it.
Okay, let me try to think. Project done.
We can come back to this later.
Yeah.
Just flesh it out some more.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to just onerous. It should be fun. So maybe you were thinking later when you're eating lunch or something else like that. It's like, oh yeah, I do that too, and just write it in there.
Well, it's not owner. It's not owner. It's just I need to. It just takes me a while to kind of
Think
think
through.
of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And sometimes, like I said, it'll come to you in the middle of the night or something else like that. You'll be like, oh yeah. But again, when you get to this level of detail, when you talk to somebody, they say, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. And you're going to be stacking up really well against the competition who just goes, yeah, I have design, creativity, project management, analytical skills. And they're like, okay, great. That's what last person said too. What makes you different? And now you go into the detail and you show exactly what you're talking about with an example. It's like, you can't get better than that. All right, so cross-functional leadership. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's. I mean, because it ties into project management. Because my projects are always cross-functional.
Okay, all right. So let's move that up here. Work cross-functionally. And what can you say between business and technical units? Is that true?
I'm sorry, what?
Between business and technical departments?
Yes, yeah, it's between business and technical departments. Correct.
Great. All right, so let's take that out and give you a different one.
Different one, okay.
Yeah, again, looking at your skills map or your defining professional expertise, your lexicon that we've been creating in the job search toolkit, or your resume, or even a cover letter, like identify something that we haven't said yet.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know if this is a key skill, but I'm always thinking about the customer experience. So I'm very passionate about how does this impact the customer? What does it mean for the customer? And I always put myself in the customer's shoes. Because
So
that really drives everything I do. Everything I do in marketing is based on based on what is it, what the customer experience and how can I enhance it or improve it?
All right, so you say customer experience or customer focus or customer centric?
Customer centric, I think, yeah.
Great. All right, so let's go. This is great because you've talked to me about this one before, so this one should come a little easier. What do you do to be customer centric? What's the what here? What are you doing?
I'm mapping out the customer journey,
What are you
or
doing?
maybe that's the secret sauce. So, what am I doing here? I'm utilizing market research. I'm utilizing market surveys. Uh, I'm I'm actually getting into the mindset of the consumer using the product or service to understand what their pain points are and how I can improve that. And also what they like about the experience and how can I make that even better? Or how can I replicate that experience they've had with bring that to other areas of the company?
So pain points, and what's the opposite of pain points?
I look for new ways to surprise and delight customers.
New ways to say that again.
Surprise and delight customers.
Surprise and delight customers. Great, love it. Perfect. Surprise and delights customers. So you said something else. You said you get into consumers' mindset to understand their pain points and what they enjoy, what they like both sides, the things that are going well, things that aren't going so well. Right?
Right.
Okay. Now let's get into secret sauce. Like
secret sauce is where I map out the customer journey.
Map out the customer journey.
Map out the customer journey. I analyze customer surveys and feedback.
Yeah, we got that in the previous one. So
okay.
It's the result of that analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what when you analyze it, what happens next after the analysis happens?
After the analysis happens, I look for trends, and then I develop action points to address what those trends are.
What about getting feedback from the customer? So you're taking the customer centric view and everything else. How do you know you get it right?
Oh, I mean through surveys, through
Yeah.
feedback surveys, right?
Okay, so got it. So that's where here surveys and feedback. Okay. Anything else with the secret sauce?
Look for trends, develop action points, and also I will add the secret sauce that I involve other departments that can also assist in improving the customer experience. So yeah, array of stakeholders.
Different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Perfect. All right, let's get an example.
An example, I have an example here, hold on. From Arroyo. So example from where I would be, I launched Rocket Referrals to assess our net promoter scores.
What kind of referrals?
It's called Rocket Referrals. So it's a software program to generate it's an online survey program. So it was sent out to all of our customers on a rolling basis to assess our net promoter score. And I found that our customers wanted more communication from us, more than just once a year at renewal. They wanted quicker response time from inquiries, and they wanted to be updated when their rep changes.
Okay, slow it down. I don't type that fast. Sorry. Is it called Rocker? R-O?
Rocket
Rocket.
referrals.
Okay, for online survey, they found customers wanted more.
They wanted more communication from us more than once a year because we're an insurance agency. So
Yeah.
typically you just contact them about renewal, but they actually wanted to hear from us more than once a year.
Yeah.
They wanted a quicker response time on their inquiries. They wanted to be updated when their rep changes versus just getting an email from a random person not realizing that their rep had changed. And they wanted us to, our business clients wanted us to be more proactive with clients to present all options and coverages.
Okay. The business unit said, you said?
The business clients wanted us to be more provide them with more, be proactive with providing them more options and coverages
Okay.
versus just, if you approach me that you want workers' comp,
Got it.
the lazy producer will just say, okay, here's our quote for workers' comp versus actually taking the time to understand their entire business and what other risks are that they might have to provide them other options.
Awesome. Cool. All right, there you have it. Oh, now you've completed it in one session. So it's good that it was a solo session today because now you got a whole 4-tier branding statement for yourself. So
Can you please send that to me?
yeah, absolutely. and my suggestion is you could do this some more and have another 2, 3, 4 talking points and just get to that detail level. Or you could go back through and just refine this even more. As like we talked about with the design creativity, like, oh yeah, let me throw that in there. And then just, kind of memorize this a little bit. And this way, when you go to any of these different situations, you're going to have all your talking points, exactly what you say. So it should breed some confidence and definitely makes you sound more articulate, makes you sound more professional and like you really know what you're talking about. So super, super powerful tool when you sit down and take the time to do this. And it only took an hour, so great.
Hey, so I signed the offer letter yesterday to Enriva, and I emailed it, and I haven't heard back from them yet. Should I be worried or?
No, I mean, sometimes it's companies like work at their own pace. If it goes into mid next week, then I'd be a little concerned. I'd be calling somewhere around Monday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Because today is what, Thursday?
Right, tomorrow's Christmas.
That's everybody's in Christmas mode right now, Ross. Is like it's right in the middle of the season,
right.
People are half checked out anyway. And unless you heard anything negative, I wouldn't worry at all because it's just like these companies move at their own pace and you are just one element of somebody's day, whereas this is a big deal for you. It's just like, oh, I got to get this done today for somebody else.
Well, I have a second round with Keep on Trucking next week.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a second round with Keep on Trucking on Tuesday.
Good. Okay.
So.
Well, man, I hope you feel better. Any other questions about this exercise?
No, this is great. This is great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. And then we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, bye.
Bye.